like it's supposed to be in March in Florida as spring training rolls on. Got to get all the bases nice and pearly white. The baselines too, because we've got a game this afternoon here in Port St. Lucie. Opposition exchanging pleasantries here at Tradition Field. Pix 11 Sports presents the New York Mets taking on the Washington Nationals at spring training baseball this afternoon. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. My partner, Keith Hernandez, will be along in just a moment. So it's the Mets and the Nationals today. Mets prospect Rafael Montero takes on Gio Gonzalez. We'll get to that in just a minute. First, the guy that isn't pitching. It doesn't seem like he's going to be pitching for a long time for the Mets, and that's their ace, Johan Santana. What we knew yesterday is the Mets finally admitted what we had thought all along, that he was not going to be ready for opening day. But Johan Santana addressed the media today, and after listening to him, it appears he won't be ready anytime soon.
Overall, I felt great, coming into spring training. Now it was a process of getting everything, under, pitching and everything, and with the coaches and trainers and everybody. And then on that process, you feel that not everything was there as far as my strength in my shoulder. And then at that point, we just talk about taking it easy and not trying to rush and not trying to put a lot of stress on my shoulder, because it was not going to make any sense. So, and that's what we've been doing. But coming into the spring training, I felt great. I was very excited about it, and then everything changed in whatever in a couple of days.
Santana talked for a while, Keith, and he admitted that his shoulder was not where it needs to be. He said he has no idea when he's going to be able to pitch. Those are ominous signs coming from Santana, who's usually pretty healthy. Where does that leave this Mets rotation?
Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag now. Yeah. We're not going to have Santana for opening day and probably indefinitely. So what it does is open up a spot in the rotation, obviously. And Hefner has come in. Jeremy Hefner has pitched well this spring, and he's earned the fifth spot. I think he's going to be the fifth guy. Now, on the backside of this, it does weaken the bullpen. It leaves another spot open from the right side in the bullpen. So there's a battle going on there for that spot. So it's a trickle-down effect that's going on here with this Met pitching staff.
Meanwhile, offensively, one of the guys who's going to be huge for this team this year is Ike Davis, and he looks comfortable. He's healthy. He's had a great spring. He's batting .342 this spring.
Well, he's swung the bat good, Kevin, from the get-go. He's hitting over .340 for spring training. It's spring, but now you want to kind of turn it on. Because, see, that's what I love right there. The ability to go the other way. I got a little pull happy last year. He's a guy the Mets need some power from. This is an offense that doesn't have a lot of speed. Lots going to be required from Ike and David Wright.
Meanwhile, you got basically 2 more starts left for the starters for opening day hits, and the Nationals, who are, of course, the defending NL East champs, have their second. Hard to believe their second pitcher is a 21-game winner, but we get to see Gio Gonzalez this afternoon.
The second pitcher, also second in Cy Young last year, and Gio Gonzalez won 21 ball games, struck out over 200. I think it's important to note, the last pitcher for any Washington team to strike out over 200, Walter Perry Johnson, in 2016.
That's quite the accomplishment for Gio Gonzalez. So we'll see the lefty today against the Mets and Rafael Montero. Always time for some autographs. Tim Burdock giving the fans a treat. First pitch coming up next.
Back to the future.
Ball brought to you by your Tri-State Cadillac dealer. Visit CadillacTristate.com to learn more. By Geico, 15 minutes to save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Chevrolet, find new roads. By Verizon, switch to Fios for America's most reliable internet. And by Honda, hurry into your Honda dealer for great deals on the 2013 models. Mets return to Citi Field to open the 2013 season Monday, April 1st against the Padres at 1:10. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit Mets.com now for your opening day tickets. Here's who's hot around Major League Baseball, brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering. A couple of Braves, Justin Upton, and then Freddie Freeman with 7 home runs already. Dominic Brown, who's had a couple good springs for the Phillies, and now it seems like it's his time in the outfield. 26 hits, leads the major leagues this spring. Of course, spring stats go away in 9 days as we lead you up to opening day here. Spring training is getting near the end, but we still got some baseball to play. Terry Collins' crew taking the field to take on the Nationals coming up next.
The Lexus Command Performance.
Davey Johnson starting lineup this afternoon. He had been playing the starters quite a bit the last few days. He takes a little break on that, but there are a couple of their starters here today, brought to you by Volkswagen. Danny Espinosa's had a good spring. Wilson Ramos, one of their main catchers, will be in there. And, of course, Gio Gonzalez, the 21-game winner, gets to start on the mound, facing one of the real young, exciting arms in the Mets system. 22-year-old Rafael Montero, Keith.
I think it's important, Kev, right there to look at that 19 walks. He's got control for such a youngster.
You've seen many numbers like that before for a kid in A-ball to have 110 Ks and 19 walks at that level?
No, it's, and you know, that kind of command for a youngster, and that's the reason why last year he was the Mets pitcher of the year. And we'll take a look at the New York Metropolitan Honda defense. And you can see Turner, of course, with the sprained ankle, is back in the lineup. He's going to get some playing time. It looks like Daniel Murphy is not going to be ready for spring training with that re-aggravation of the rib muscle. So Turner's going to get a lot of playing time, and also Valdespin is going to get a lot of playing time. Valdespin's just been having a terrific spring.
Yeah, he's earned it. He's had a great spring training, and, you know, initially put himself in the mix in the outfield, but with Murphy still behind schedule, he very well could be your opening day starter at second base. A gorgeous afternoon. This is the first day, I think, since I've been down here that it's actually normal Florida.
Yeah, a little bit of
7 degrees today.
A little muggy breeze. You know, the breeze is coming up from the west off the swamp there. It's always muggy when it blows from the west.
Montero starts off Roger Bernardina with a first pitch strike.
Well, this is only the third game for Bernardina, who had a terrific year last year as a kind of a had around 300 at bats for Davey Johnson.
He's going to be the fourth outfielder for this team, and that's a pretty good guy to have as a fourth outfielder. Terrific speed. Guy who hit a career high 291 last year and stole 15 bases.
Well, you know, the one thing about the Nationals is that they have had a good bench, and they have a good bench this year going forward. And it's critical. You got to have those guys. They also Tyler Moore for the Nationals, who's playing first base today, is really an outfielder, and he's got some pop. And I think those two guys, right and left off the bench, are outstanding.
Montero's fastball is high, and it's 2-2 to Roger Bernardina. Bernardina went on kind of a tour around the world. He was in the World Baseball Classic playing for the Netherlands, but they started off in Japan. So he went from Vieira, Florida. Shattered bat that Ike Davis will take care of at first base, so Bernardina is retired. But to finish the thought, okay, so he goes to Japan to play in the early pool play, then comes back to this side of the world, goes to San Francisco because Netherlands was in the final round, and then comes back to Florida. That's a lot of travel in 2 weeks.
Well, who would have thought the Netherlands would have been in advanced at all? But they had a really good WBC. Sounds like a wrestling match.
It does. They were in the finals along with Randy Macho Man Savage, Bruno Sammartino. So one down as Montero retires his first hitter. Now we'll face Danny Espinosa, the starting second baseman for the Nationals, playing shortstop today because Ian Desmond did not make the trip.
Well, if you recall, last year Desmond had oblique injury and missed quite a bit of the midseason, and Espinosa went over and played shortstop for the Nationals and really did an outstanding job. He had a terrible start last year in the first half of the season. Wound up having a good second half with 17 home runs and 247 batting average.
And he has himself a base hit. So one out single for Danny Espinosa. That'll bring up Tyler Moore.
Well, this is a changeup right here, and for you folks that don't know anything about Montero, that's who was a fastball, but he has an excellent changeup, Montero, they say, to go with a good fastball.
Well, Keith, you talked about this young man having some pop. Tyler Moore came up in his rookie campaign last year off the bench, and he did have some starts with some injuries and things like that, but he had 10 home runs and only 156 at bats for Davey Johnson.
Well, Davey Johnson loves him. 9 doubles on top of that too, so 19 extra base hits. Davey Johnson loves him, but where are you going to play him with this outfield? They got Denard Span, who they picked up from Minnesota to play center field. You got Jason Worth, that's going to be in right field, and of course the rookie of the year, Bryce Harper, in left. Pretty good slider right there, Kev. This is a good pitch. Excellent.
I saw Montero once this spring, and everything he threw was right around the knees, and obviously with the numbers he had last year, you have to think that's the case. This is an interesting guy, though, because he's 22 years old. He only signed at age 20. And, normally you get a prospect, they're signed at 16 years old, maybe 17 years old. So he was just signed at age 20. Last year was his first year in a full season professional baseball, and to put up those kind of numbers, that's why the Mets are so excited about him. Chance at third for Lutz.
Nice.
Try and turn the 2, and they get it done. 5-4-3 double play. Good first inning for Rafael Montero. Nationals fail to score. Mets are coming up when we come back. Back at Tradition Field, we go to the bottom of the first, scoreless game, and Terry Collins' starting lineup this afternoon brought to you by the Volkswagen Springtoberfest event. As we take a look with Cowgill leading off, Ike Davis cleanups had a good spring. Tejada trying to fight his way through a spring slump. See if he can do that today against Gio Gonzalez and the Nationals. And there is Gio. Simply outstanding coming over in that trade from the A's last year.
Having a good spring. It's only his fourth start. Of course, he was in the WBC. That's why he hasn't. Most pitchers by this stage have 6 starts under their belt. A little longer spring training because of the WBC. Like I said in the open, I've got to correct myself, is that he struck out 200 batters last year, and Walter Perry Johnson was the last Washington player ever to strike out 200 since it was 1916. That's why I said Back to the Future. Walter is awful old.
I just thought that he was cryogenically frozen and he was coming back to life. I mean, it wouldn't shock me that arm would still be in good condition. Cowgill leads it off against Gonzalez and takes ball 1.
Well, Gio finished number 2 in the Cy Young Award voting, behind, of course, the former Met, who is now a Toronto Blue Jay.
R.A. Dickey. Espinoza at short. And Cowgill retired, 1 down.
And we'll take a look at the Washington Nationals defense, brought to you by Honda. Espinoza, as I said, 30 starts were because of the oblique injury. Those are career starts, but he did play shortstop a lot last year, around 6 weeks or to a month, with Desmond with the oblique injury.
Shortstop's his natural position, so he feels comfortable over there.
It's interesting that Davey Johnson said that when Desmond went down, Espinoza was so focused on defense because he hadn't played, and of course they were in a hunt for would be a division title, that he took his mind off of his hitting and focused on his defense, and he started hitting.
That is weird.
Well, he says he worries too much about his hitting, so Davey thought it was a good distraction for him, a good focus, and a team focus, really, moving over to shortstop at a critical part of the year. It was August, I believe.
He was tremendous over there, too. As it's 2-1 to Justin Turner, whose ankle is fine. We saw it last weekend, that right ankle sprain. That was the day that we learned that David Wright was going to be out trying to nurse that intercostal injury, and then he goes down in the very beginning of that game. But it didn't last long. He came back on Thursday, ran the bases fine, and he's okay. Good news for the Mets. Chance for the veteran Chad Tracy, and Turner is retired, 2 away.
Number 6, right fielder,
Well, that'll bring up Marlon Byrd, and Keith, it's interesting. We came into camp, and there's a lot of questions to be answered. Some still aren't answered for the Mets, and I don't want to say the outfield is answered in terms of are they going to be enough production-wise? Are they going to give you what Sandy Alderson and Terry Collins hope? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows, but I think you pretty much can see who's going to be in this outfield now. And Marlon Byrd is going to be starting an awful lot.
Well, I think Bird's going to be the starting right fielder, and he's going to play every day. He's had a good spring. He's a veteran. Newman Heights, but bruised knee, has missed so much time. It set him back. He's not going to go north with this ball club. He had a shot to be the starting center fielder, and now it looks like it could be a platooning of Cowgill and Valdespin.
Bird hits this one on the screws, and that's going to be extra bases. Marlon Byrd has himself a 2-out double, continuing to add to his terrific spring training.
Well, you're getting close to the end now. 9 days for opening day? You kind of start to want to get your groove going, but it's been this way all spring for Marlon. He's just really come here and won the job, and he has the ability to go the other way. This one he decides to go into the left center field gap.
Ike Davis with 2 down and Byrd on second. Ike's had himself a good camp. Just the 1 home run, but a few doubles, hitting the ball well. And Keith, you saw the video in the open. He's noticeable on the 2-strike approach. He's had some good hits in this camp. going the other way, and that's a real good sign for Wright Davis taking ball one.
Well, he's got a good eye at the plate, and I think when he spread out his stance last year, you recall the miserable first half that he had. Then he spread his feet wider apart at the plate, and it seemed to get some balance for him, and he's been downhill ever since for him.
Here is the one area where I would look to improve. He hit just 174 against lefties last year, and that's a number he'd like to see obviously go up a little bit. Now, some of that is just due to the bad start. I mean, granted, when you have a couple months like he did, every number is going to be down. But
well, he was so far out in front the first half of the year that he didn't have a chance against the left-hander. Because when you start lunging, you start swinging at bad breaking balls, and you can see the widespread stance there. He's staying back. I mean, we were harping on it all the first half of the season. He's lunging. He's got, it's easier said than done. I'm sitting up here. I don't have to go in there and have a split second to have to react to a ball out of a pitcher's hand. But it was very apparent that he was lunging out in front. But the widespread stance now seems to have made the correction for him. A good adjustment.
Curveball's a strike. And then, what did I do after he made that adjustment? He had 20 home runs in the second half of the season.
Well, I remember the first game that he did it was in Arizona, I believe. He had the big game in Arizona.
Yep.
And that was the first time he had the stance. And then the next day he had a bad day. Remember, he struck out 3 times, and we went on to San Francisco, and he kind of got it back together again.
2-2 to him here. And he goes the other way again, but right at Rivero, the left fielder. Davis a bit unlucky. Mets strand runner. We've played one scoreless. Mets and Nats. Baseball brought to you by the Toyota #1 sales event going on now. Toyota, let's go places. On the backfields going on right now, Zach Wheeler throwing in a little inter-squad game.
Oh, there's the good curveball.
Well, that'll play.
So we got a little tease with Zach this spring.
Yeah, it was a shame, and obviously it's good that he's healthy now as Chad Tracy takes a strike to start the second. It's a shame that you saw that first start that we had against Strasburg, and he dazzled you in a couple of innings, and then he hurt the oblique in batting practice. So you didn't get to see him as much that I think that we thought we would. But all along the plan for Wheeler was to basically start the year in AAA, and if things go right, he won't be there very long.
Same thing with d'Arnaud. Probably will open up in Las Vegas, and if he gets out hot, he'll be up abruptly, quickly.
Talk to people around this camp, and they are raving about the job that Travis d'Arnaud does or has done. Second base hit of the game for the Nationals as Tracy has a leadoff single against Montero here in the second.
Fastball away. So both base hits off of Montero have been off left-handed bats, and both fastballs away, and both pulled. Now Montero is going to have to be, with the changeup as his out pitch, is going to have to pitch left-handers inside to make that changeup effective.
Here's Wilson Ramos making his way back from a difficult knee surgery, and the fastball blows it right by him.
No, only 89 miles an hour in the gun, but upstairs always gives it a little more life.
We've been saying all spring, it feels like this gun's a couple miles an hour off, but who knows, maybe not.
It's usually off. All the guns are off in the other direction. They're usually giving pitcher too much mileage.
There's a breaking ball for a strike. Well, they did have Jonathan Neese throwing a 107-mile-an-hour fastball, which I'm pretty sure didn't happen this spring. So you never know what the gun's going to give you. Cowgill right there as Ramos is retired. Starting to talk about Ramos, so Keith, I mean, you know, this is a really good young catcher that suffered a tough injury last year, ACL and meniscus tear in his right knee, and making his way back. And, you know, all spring Davey Johnson said, hey, look, Kurt Suzuki, who they traded for when Ramos got hurt, because they went through 5 catchers last year. You know, Davey Johnson's taking the pressure off him and saying, hey, Suzuki is going to be the opening day starter. But Ramos caught a full game for the first time this spring on Thursday, and Davey today saying, well, you know, we'll see.
Oh, I think it's Davey's way of prodding Ramos by making him maybe work harder. If he's going to say, well, he's got my starting catcher Suzuki, then it makes you work that much harder. So Davey's a master at motivating his players. That's one of his pluses, and that's why he's the 2-time manager of the year.
Is Carlos Rivero, and he takes inside ball 1 as we take a look at Davey.
Well, 3rd season with the Nationals. Lifetime record is 1,286 wins, 995 losses in 13 seasons, Davey. 6 division titles, 1 world title. We won't mention which one it was.
I think most watching the broadcast have an idea. Trying to turn a double play, and they get it done. So the Lutz to Turner to Davis combination has turned 2 double plays here today for Rafael Montero, getting the ground ball. And the defense coming up big, 5-4-3, 1.5 in the books. We're scoreless.
Buck
John Buck leading it off for the Mets as we play the bottom of the second inning. Crowd on hand, enjoying some sunshine today. Good to have you back, Keith. We miss you. I had a nice little break there.
I had 13 days off in a row, and put on around 5 pounds. I'm not happy. I got to get on the program again.
You were at your playing weights.
No, I wasn't. No, I will never see that again.
You look terrific, though. So you fell off the wagon momentarily.
I just got lazy and didn't do anything, and that's what happens, you know, at our age.
Back on the bike for you?
Back on the bike, back on the elliptical. Yep, back into the program. You know, I have my 60th birthday this year. How about that?
That's insane to think about.
Don't forget it. I'm your elder. So October 20th, along with Juan Marichal, and we will. Mickey Mantle. I was born on his day too. I'll be 60 years old. A little sobering. I figure I got 20 years left, and I'm going to have some fun.
Yeah, but you, if you're looking and feeling good, it doesn't really matter what age you are. And the mustache is going to stay off. That's not coming back.
Yeah, it's going to stay off.
Been long enough. I'm finally getting used to it.
It's taken me a while too, and well, I did it in September, right?
Yeah.
So I'm finally kind of getting used to it. I used to get up in the morning, you know, and you brush your teeth and you look in the mirror. Now I don't even look at it. It's becoming more part of me.
John Buck draws a leadoff walk against Gio Gonzalez to start off the Mets in the second. How long did you have like the milky, super duper white skin? I mean, that had to take a while to get back to normal.
It took a long time, and then also the flashes made it look even worse. And then we do the opens with the bright lights on our face. It made it even worse, like I was doing a milk commercial. And,
Keith, was that a home run?
No, it was a pop-up. You always got to show that one. There's so many pictures of me hitting line drives.
There's a good picture of you in the media room downstairs. Have you seen that one?
Yes, I have. There you go.
It's a cool one. You and the kid and Jesse and Hojo.
So Duda's been starting to go the other way a little bit with success, and there's so much talk on what Duda for him to have to hit home runs, and I think that Lucas started pulling too much, and now they're trying to get him to go to left center field, and that is I agree 100%.
This one he pulls and he sneaks it through. John Buck racing to third. And it's runners on the corners with nobody out.
Well, there's something right there that Terry Collins said that he wants this Met team to do more of, and that's be aggressive on the bases, take the extra base. Now, one thing about Lucas, he does stay in on left-handers, and he is a threat, as is Ike. So you've got two big power guys in your lineup that are left-hand hitters that hit left-handers well, even though Ike on the interstate last year against lefties. He got a much better second half.
I'll tell you what, Buck was running pretty good there.
Yes, he was.
I mean, John Buck is a giant human being when you stand next to him. That was pretty good. He had some big strides. And you're right, that has been a big philosophy for Terry Collins. Trying to score extra runs, going first to third, taking that extra base.
Well, this is a team that doesn't have a lot of speed. So they're going to have to, they don't have to have a lot. You can have average speed and do first to third and score in a double in the gap, particularly at Citi Field. It's a big ballpark.
Sure. Zach Lutz with an RBI opportunity here against Gio Gonzalez. Lutz is getting some time at third base with David Wright, nurturing that intercostal strain. And David took a small step forward today. He fielded some ground balls yesterday, did hit off a tee, took a couple flips. So he swung the bat today, which is certainly a positive development. That's the first baby step. He tries to get ready for opening day, but we'll see. The thing is about Wright, you get the feeling is, Keith, even if he's not ready for opening day, even though that would be nice, you don't get the idea with him that he's, maybe a couple of days. But Daniel Murphy is the one who's still kind of trying to catch up.
Well, it's also a little cautionary in the fact that it's pretty much the same injury that Daniel has it, David has a rib, and you don't want David to come back too quick and tweak it, because then he will not be ready for opening day. So you want to be extra careful. Even though you're down to the last 9 days, it's not going to do anybody any good if David Wright re-aggravates that injury. There's Daniel right there, and he's really showing a lot of patience. Daniel's kind of a go-getter type guy.
Well, Lutz hits one deep to center field. It's back there. Bernardina makes the grab. That'll get a run in, though, so Lutz does the job. Sacrifice fly scores John Buck. It's 1-0 Mets. So Zach Lutz continues his solid spring, driving in a run, giving the Mets the 1-0 lead. And Ruben Tejada now looking for a little offense. 4 for 40 this spring. He had an 0 for 18 skid snapped the other day with a double, but he struggled to put it together, especially considering his first at bat of the spring was a home run against Steven Strasburg.
Well, you can see by the flags today, it is blowing from the west, and therefore it's going to be carrying from center field on over to right. It's almost blowing directly out. So Ruben has been having a tough spring, but you know what? I've seen a lot of guys have bad springs, and all of a sudden the season starts and
click it on.
You know, well, it's not so much click it on. It's just you've been slumping the whole spring, and it only can last so long. So that remains to be seen.
How many at bats do you need? I mean, Ruben's got 40 at bats right now.
Okay, it's not really how many. I can't quantify that. It's all feel. When you're on a ball club and you're a veteran, it's just you could have a maximum amount of at bats and feel terrible going into the season.
Tejada hits this one well, but right at Bernardina in center. 2 down.
I've never had great springs, and I didn't have poor springs, but a lot of times I left spring training hitting 230, 220, never bothered me. It's all about the last week to 5 days, how you feel at the plate. So you want to get your rhythm the last week, feel like you're getting your groove, finding your groove to carry it right into opening day. Because these hits down here, they don't count.
So it's not the number, it's just a matter of getting in a decent groove before you get out of here, essentially.
Correct. And that's when you're a veteran and you know what you can do. But when you're fighting for a ball club, you got, it's a little more pressure to have a good spring, obviously.
I guess in turn, as Montero, the hitter, must be hard if you get off and start off great in spring and then slump a little bit and try and get it back before you go.
I've seen a lot of guys have great springs and season starts, and the end of April they're back in AAA.
Searching for it, Cowgill on deck. Montero in an 0-2 hole with 2 down. Mets have a 1-0 lead on the sac fly from Zach Lutz. And curveball misses. Montero down swinging, and the inning is over. So Gio Gonzalez gets his first strikeout. Mets on the board, though. Zach Lutz with the sacrifice fly. Played 2 innings, 1-0. Mets on top. Partly cloudy skies, sunshine, 87 degrees on this Saturday afternoon. Coming to you from Port St. Lucie, Florida, along with my partner Keith Hernandez. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. That is a cool shot. Spring training getting closer to opening day, 9 days away. As we head to the third, 1-0 Mets on the sac fly from Zach Lutz, and Steve Lombardozzi takes strike one from Rafael Montero. So we've seen a couple innings from Montero. He's used all of his pitches, the fastball, slider, and change so far.
Well, Lombardozzi was the big surprise last spring.
Cowgill racing in, gets there, one down.
And Davey Johnson likes Lombardozzi, his versatility. He can play the outfield, the middle infield positions. Switch hitter, had a good year last year, hit .273 for the Nationals.
Meanwhile, how about this story as Micah Owings is the batter? Yep, that Micah Owings, the pitcher, the former pitcher who's now converted to be a full-time position player. And you saw the numbers. He is killing it this spring up until there where he pops up. And Turner grabs that for the second out. But Owings going to go to AAA for the Nationals, but he could be a valued piece. He's always been a good hitter in his career. Davey Johnson just wants him to get at bats, but in a very intriguing piece that could be a factor for this Nationals team down the road.
Oh, he's a big, strong kid, and he's trying to make it back as a hitter.
So now Gio Gonzalez will take his cuts with 2 down and the bases empty against Montero. Gonzalez had a good spring. He had a good World Baseball Classic with a terrific start for Team USA against Puerto Rico. Unfortunately for him, his name got tangled up in the biogenesis reports, which came out and report the Miami New Times linked Gonzalez as one of those guys. Another reports came out later and said he did not purchase any PEDs. In fact, Gonzalez had to come out and say, hey, 2 days after that report, I took a drug test and passed it. Almost had to clear himself of that report. So it seems like with all the names on that list that he has been absolved. And that story took another turn because yesterday the Major League Baseball reported as suing Biogenesis in order to obtain those documents so they can move forward and see if there are suspensions to be lobbied. But Gonzalez has kind of gotten through that now and just ready for opening day.
Ooh, good fastball right there. There's the pitcher up, but still, it's a nice, good inside corner fastball. Right to the glove.
Two-two to Gonzalez, and breaking ball hits him. And Gonzalez smiles. He knows that the young Montero had no intentions there.
Well, you see Buck is set up outside. The fastball gets away. Coffee is served, Kev.
I made a critical mistake. I've been so used to getting the hot coffee all year because it's been cold in this booth. And I went with the hot today, and I'm afraid that's going to make me perspire a little bit.
That's all right. You're cool under pressure.
So Gonzalez on first. We go back to the top of the order with Roger Bernardino now.
When we get back up north, we're not going to be perspiring for the first month of the season.
Oh my God, I have to go and buy some serious long johns, not only for the opening day and for Philadelphia, and then it's going to be chilly. Then you got Colorado and Minnesota. You're on that trip, right?
I'm on the trip. It's 3 in Philly and 3 in Minnesota, which is an open air ballpark. So that's going to be cold for sure.
And 4 in Colorado.
4, and I never know with Colorado. It could be 70 degrees. It could be 15.
I'd prefer 70.
I would prefer 72. And I tell you what, if the Mets, well, I can say we here, if we can get away without having a snow postponement or a rain postponement in that road trip, because you're not going back to 2 of the cities, Denver
No.
in Minneapolis.
You don't want
Minnesota.
a snow makeup date in August.
And that'll be a road trip, one an off day where you'll have to go back and make it up, or they could play a doubleheader. Who knows? I don't know how they would do that. But good weather would make it this conversation moot.
That's a tough call, man. If you don't want to play a doubleheader the first week of the season if you don't have to. But I mean, in that case, and when you're not going back to a place, there's Montero now.
Well, the Mets go to the West Coast twice this year. 3 times, actually, if you go from the Rockies up west.
Yeah.
And this first trip, they got one. San Francisco's mixed in right before the All-Star break, and then you've got Arizona, L.A., and San Diego. You know, I think it was middle of August.
Yeah. That's a test, you know. That's when you're getting to the dog days, and you gotta.
But I would rather be in those time zones 10 days, 3 city swings like the old days when I played, because you get acclimated to the time.
And if you're going to be there, might as well just stay there, right?
Might as well make it a 3 city swing.
It's such a long trip.
There's Johan.
Montero trying to get out of the inning. 3-2 to Bernardina. Talked about Johan at the beginning of the broadcast. If you just tuned in, he spoke to the media today, and it was kind of sombering. He indicated that his shoulder certainly wasn't responding the way he wanted to. He threw off flat ground at 90 feet today, which is nowhere near where you want to be at this point, obviously. And he said he has no idea when he's going to be able to pitch. It was sad listening to Santana talking. I think he did a good job holding in his frustration, but clearly he didn't expect this. As Montero now, after hitting Gonzalez, loses Bernardina. Nationals with 2 down have 2 on for Danny Espinosa. So, and plus it changes the thought, Keith. I mean, I think the Mets all knew now for the last couple of weeks, the way things have been going, that Santana wasn't going to be there for opening day. But the thought is, okay, maybe mid-April, maybe after that cold road trip, get him back.
Right.
Well, now it's pretty obvious that, it's a much longer timetable with Santana. And the frustrating part is it's all about when his shoulder responds. That could be today. It could be next month.
Well, you take Hefner out of that bullpen mix now, and so it leaves another spot. So Whitey Herzog told me a long time ago when I was playing. I guess it is a long time ago. 30 years ago, to be exact. And that when you have an injury, whether it's a pitcher, if it's an everyday player, then you got to use a bench player. It weakens your bench. If it's a pitcher, it's a starter. It weakens your starting rotation. If you got to drag out of your bullpen, then it weakens your bullpen. We talked about it on the open.
Well, I get your point. So even if you don't maybe see the results right on the surface right away, somewhere along the line there's a crack in the fence.
You're looking at the bullpen right now. You're going to have you could have 4 non-roster players, invitees to camp in your bullpen. That would be Scott Atchison, LaTroy Hawkins, Scott Rice has a shot from the left side now, and Pedro Feliciano. All invitees.
It's a great point. Part of that by design. I mean, the Mets purposely didn't go out and give any major league deal. The only major league major league deal they signed was Brandon Lyons. He was the only one that came in and knew he had a guaranteed deal. They wanted to kind of keep their options open, but you have to say that's pretty rare.
Well, yeah, with Hefner now in the rotation, it's opened up a spot from the right side in that bullpen. And that's Atchison, Hawkins, Parnell, and Lyon, and Greg Burke. The Mets conceivably, if Scott Rice goes north, they'll have 2 submariners from both sides of the pitching from both sides.
Meanwhile, Montero comes back to get Espinosa on strike. First strikeout for Montero. He gets out of a jam as he whiffs Espinosa on the heater. 1-0 Mets, middle of the third. take a look at Tradition Field. Spring training home of the Mets for a quarter of a century now. That's a cool shot. Rosebush outside. Gio Gonzalez always seems like he's having fun, smiling on the mound. I'd smile too if I won 21 games last year. That's what Gio did, as he's making really his final tune-up before the start of the season. I mean, he'll get one more start, but usually the next start is certainly less of a tune-up than this. And Nationals might even throw him in a minor league game. He won't throw as many pitches as today. So this is really the real final audition before opening day for the pitchers. And sorry, Keith, just to finish thought. The reason, if you tuned in, we'll say, well, then why is Montero starting today? Because with the Markham injury, they needed a spot, so that's why Montero's pitching for the Mets.
Well, that's something you brought up that's of interest. Is, you know, Markham's had a cortisone shot in his shoulder, and he says that it's something he's done every year, and that's a little bit concerning for the Mets, because Markham has not been a guy that's been able to give you 30-plus starts the last 2-3 years of his career. He's had mainly elbow problems. So the Mets are in no position to lose anybody out of that starting rotation.
Well, especially after the news of Santana. I mean, he has said he's dealt with it, says he's gotten a cortisone shot to get through some of the inflammation, and as a matter of fact, the Mets say he is starting on Thursday, and we'll get ready with that for the regular season. But, you know, we'll see. He seems to have a handle on it.
It's going to drop.
Calgo's got a leadoff single. That'll bring up Justin Turner, who is sure to get, as we take a look at the replay, he's sure to get a lot of time at third base if David Wright can't start the season on time. And Keith, you weren't here on Thursday with the Mets after the game making the announcement that, you know, what we've been talking about for a long time, but they had made it official. David Wright, the fourth captain in Mets history. And it's a special group that obviously you were the chairman of. And what, you know, when you heard the news, just your first thought about Wright and joining that group that included you and Gary Carter and John Franco.
You know, well, ultimately it's the manager's choice, and Terry Collins, I guess, made his decision to name David, and it's appropriate. David's now here is the last. He's the last man standing. That ball club back in 2006 that was very close to going to a World Series. And then, of course, everything that came after that, the two collapses, and now everybody's gone. The only one here is David. So and he's the senior citizen here, and he's had a great career. He deserves the captaincy, and he was captain without having to be given the 2 bars, you know. But he's in good company, as you can see right there, except for that guy on the left. That's a little bogus, but. You know, congratulations to David, and I think it's appropriate that he's this team captain.
He says that, you know, nothing much will change.
No, nothing does. It's not like hockey where you got to have a captain out there to talk to the referees.
Sure.
You know, it's an honorary position. It's a position of respect. You're held in high regard, esteemed by your teammates. And it has to be the veteran. When I came up, it was Gibson and Lou Brock. They weren't named captains, but they were captains.
This could be 2. Espinosa will turn an easy double play. 2 away here in the third.
Well, I tell you what, that ball was scorched. And when you're in spring training, you know, Kev, I told you about how I never cared about the batting average. It's all about the last week, getting in the groove. When you hit a ball like that, you know you feel good at the plate. It doesn't matter if it's an out.
Sure. You know, Keith, do you think, though, with Wright, and you're talking about how things really don't change, and it's an honor, it's got to be the veteran, and that all certainly makes sense. But Wright has always been a lead-by-example guy. Says he'll continue to do that. But do you think, just knowing that the title is official, will there be times that he may feel like there's a need to speak up to players or to the front office about things that, I mean, look, he does those things behind closed doors anyway. But do you think maybe there's that 1 or 2 times where maybe he comes up and says something? Do you think any of that applies, or it's just pretty much basic business as usual? It's a nice honor. Here you go. let's move on and play baseball.
It's a nice honor, and there's Bird again hitting a bullet. Nice play right there, but just to be real quick,
yeah,
I think David's already assumed that role. When you become captain, you're the leader of the team. You always give advice and help young players. It's all, really nothing changes. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, it's a nice honor for David Wright. Good to hear from you on that, Keith. As we take a look at the Mets captains. MLB.TV Premium today. Watch over 150 select spring training games live, plus every regular season game live or on demand on over 250 mobile and connected devices. Visit Mets.com for all your details. We play the fourth at Tradition Field. 1-0 Mets over the Nationals. Zach Lutz with a sacrifice fly to get in the Mets run. Meanwhile, Rafael Montero has looked good. A couple hits, hit batter and a walk, but he's shown some of the stuff why the Mets are so high on this young man. Big swing and a miss from Tyler Moore, playing first base today. Moore grounded into a double play, his first time up in the first inning.
Well, Moore is a strong kid, Mississippi State alumnus, excuse me. We called him hitting a pinch hit home run in Citi Field last year in left field. He had 2 seasons in the minor leagues in 10 and 11. A-ball and double-A, where he hit 31 home runs both seasons back to back.
Wow, this is a shot deep left. Only question if it's fair, and it's not. That was on cue, talking about that power.
Well, he had 26 home runs in AAA last year in 101 games, and then he was called up, so he would have probably hit 30 in AAA. So he's got a track record in the minor leagues. He's just looking for a chance to play every day. It's just hard to bust into this Washington National outfield. And first base is not the answer, because you got LaRoche over there, who had a heck of a season last year.
Yeah, the Nationals were in pursuit of LaRoche. I mean, he was a free agent, and they went back and forth. LaRoche wanted a 3-year deal. Finally settled for a 2-year deal, but it's hard to argue what he did. All he did was win the Gold Glove, hit 33 home runs. I mean, he was a monster that nobody talked about outside of D.C. last year.
Well, he's also an important left-handed bat in that lineup. You got the right, nice breaking ball right there coming from Montero. I like his slider. I heard about his changeup, but I like his breaking ball as well. Good pitch.
Second strikeout for Montero.
Well, Bryce Harper was here and was in the lineup, but he was scratched. A late scratch. He's got a little swelling in his thumb. He got jammed the other day on a pitch, and a little bit of swelling, so he tried to get to go, and it hurt too much in batting practice. They took him out. He's having a great spring.
Yeah, he's tattooing the ball. He's hitting 400 with 3 home runs, a couple doubles. Yeah, Davey said it was no big deal. He said just, you know, give him a rest. Took him out of the ball game early yesterday. He said he'll probably play tomorrow.
So I asked Davey before the game, where are you going to hit your little young star? And he goes, in your spot.
Ah, number 3.
He's going to be the number 3 hitter. They're going to lead off Span. Worth's going to hit second, which I think is a great idea. Because Worth takes a lot of pitches and walks and can go the other way and hit and run. And we know what happened last year. Davey put him in the leadoff spot, and he had 300 last year, Worth, where he had struggled his first year with the big contract with the Nationals. So Harper would hit third, Zimmerman would be cleanup, LaRoche fifth, Desmond sixth, Espinoza, Suzuki, or Ramos. It's a pretty good lineup.
It's a really good lineup. You know, and consider the fact that last year Zimmerman played the entire year with a shoulder that was not good.
Right. And there it is right there. And you can see the importance of LaRoche in that lineup, because another left-handed bat.
Tracy gives one a ride to deep center. Cal Galano's horse not going to get it. One hops the wall. Chad Tracy's got a 1-out double for the Nats. That's the other thing. You talked about this bench for Davey Johnson. Yeah, Moore's going to be on there with the power, but having guys like Tracy, he had DeRosa last year.
Yep. They've got a good bench, and to win it takes. It's an old adage, and it's, you know, trite, but it's true. It takes 25 to win. You just can't win with 8 position players and 12 pitchers. You've got to have a bench to go with it.
Wilson Ramos will split time behind the dish with Kurt Suzuki after Ramos is now back healthy with the torn ACL and torn meniscus. Mets are very unhappy to see him back. Obviously, they want him to be healthy. But what did he do against the Mets before he got hurt last year? Well, that would be .463 with 3 home runs and 9 doubles and 58 at bats. Another good slider for a strike.
Well, there's that slider. He gets some downward break to it. So as a hitter, you've got to make him get that slider up. You know, okay, I faced him. He's got a down slider.
Wind's carrying this one. Bird drifting. And he hauls it in. Tracy will go to third easily with 2 away.
Just to make my point, something I always did. If you got a guy with a down breaking ball, down slider, and you've seen it, okay, that's how it breaks, then you've got to get it to a point where you pick it up out of the hand, and whatever elevation it is, when you make that judgment that if it's going to be mid-thigh, then it's going to be strike. It's going to be a strike on the knees. If it starts below mid-thigh and closer to the knees, it's going to break down for a ball, and you've got to recognize that as a hitter. Otherwise, you're going to swing at the bad breaking ball. You're going to allow the pitcher to expand the strike zone.
Carlos Rivero now tying run on third and 2 down. That's been his best pitch today. Keith, how long does it take you when you're seeing a new guy like this? How long does it take you to make that adjustment? Is it a couple turns down at bat? Is it just seeing him for the first time? I mean,
well, you see his pitches in the first time you face him, and you just don't. You're getting a feel for him. But certainly in the course of the first game, you know, if you get 4 at bats off him, 3 at bats, you're going to see all of his pitches in 2 at bats. Sometimes you're going to see it all. And I mean, I always took a first pitch the first time up at the plate, and I always took it in the hopes that it would be ball 1, 1-0, and okay, whatever pitch he threw, say it was a curveball. Okay, now I've seen his curveball or a slider. I'm 1-0. I can take another pitch, and then it's fastball. In the best case scenario, it's a ball. 2-0. I've seen his 2 pitches. And I'm ready to go. And I'm 2-0. I mean, that's a perfect world.
Meanwhile, 1-2 to Carlos Rivero. As we play in the 4th, 1-0 Mets. Steve Lombardozzi on deck. If Rivero keeps it going. Montero looking for his 3rd K. Buck keeps it in front of him.
gets in front there.
Staying alive. You see how the Nationals are going to lose. He's out of options. There's nowhere to go on this Nationals team where the top 25 has already been selected for the most part. And they don't want to lose him. He had a great year in AAA last year. Maybe they could trade him beforehand, but it's a good problem to have when you're that good, when you don't even have a room for a guy because you're that loaded. Again, a 2-2 right on the hands. He stays alive.
It's a nice crowd today, and a lot of it's due. There's a lot of Nationals fans here as they're in love with their team in Washington. Why wouldn't they be? Best record in the National League, 98 wins last year. One out from advancing all the way, and didn't happen.
Again, a 2-2 from Montero. And he got him. Comes with the heat, and he gets it by Rivero. Third strikeout for Montero. Now it's time for a health tip presented by the North Shore LIJ Health System. Azure skies in Port St. Lucie as we go to the fourth. 1-0 Mets on the RBI sac fly from Zach Lutz. Rafael Montero, 22-year-old prospect for the Mets, pitching a nice game this afternoon, facing Gio Gonzalez, and a good crowd on hand on this warm Saturday, 89 degrees. Ike Davis to lead it off. And takes a breaking ball outside. Davis flew out to left, actually hit a bullet to left.
Hit a line drive. I have no idea why the left fielder is playing him as if he's an opposite field hitter. But he hit the ball right at him last at bat, which is always a good sign.
Keith, think back to 2011 with Ike Davis. It's John Buck on deck. I mean, before he injured his ankle in that freak play in Colorado that cost him the year, he was hitting .302 with 7 home runs and 129 at bats. I understand there's a long way to go after that, but if you look at that, you look at what he did in the second half last year, you just feel like there's an awful lot of potential here.
Well, what I like about last year was that he was able to come back the way he did. That was as bad a first half as I've seen anybody have. And you could lose your confidence. You can go right down the drain with it. And the Mets did not send him down. They stayed with him. And the fact that he finished so strongly in that second half hit 30+ home runs. It just says a lot about his what's inside of him. You know, he didn't lay down and die. He turned it around. It's really quite remarkable.
Payoff to him here. Espinoza retires Davis, and there's one away. And say this about Ike Keith, you know, being in the clubhouse every day. I give him credit too. His demeanor never really changed. You know, I mean, he was always his affable self in there and try to, you know, stay up for his teammates. Never turned into, for lack of a better word, a grump or anything else like that. And I guess really the only way to get through that is to try and stay up and stay upbeat every day.
And he had the valley fever too. That was affected him, I'm sure.
John Buck lays off a breaking ball in the dirt. John Buck was an Astros 7th rounder in '98 out of Taylorsville High School in Utah. He was in the Astros system. And then in 2004, Astros sent him to Kansas City for one Carlos Beltran. Beltran, of course, had that insane postseason with the Astros that year. Led him to the big contract with the Mets. Somewhere there's the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing going on there. Buck with a hefty cut. He's in a 1-2 hole against Gonzalez. Home fourth, 1-0 Mets. And the curveball gets him. Gio Gonzalez has that wiffle ball curve working to full effect today.
Well, he's starting to get his rhythm here too, and they're getting that breaking ball over. It's a good one. Take a look.
He's got a little Sid Fernandez in that curve at all?
No, Sid's entirely different. Sid's was a big bender.
The big breaker.
And he took so much off of it.
His fastball always looked a million miles an hour. But what did Sid, 89, 90? What was his fastball?
He was not overpowering, but he was very deceptive.
Yeah.
He came underneath the ball. I never could figure out how he could throw. I never could figure out how Sid, you can see the 21 wins right there, and that's just the Expos and Nationals, the National League side of this franchise.
Duda with a big cut.
But I never could figure with Sid getting so far underneath. It's a good fastball away. How he was able to get on top of that curveball. I mean, he did. I mean, Boston just didn't have any answer for him. I run into guys once in a while from the Red Sox that, you know, played against him in '86 in the World Series, and they just said Sid Fernandez, they just didn't want anything to do with him. And thank goodness for that, because Sid held the fort on Game 7, did he not? Allowed us to come back.
El Cid. That's a lot of strikeouts.
Yes, it is for the innings pitch too.
It's a lot of strikeouts.
Sid's problem was he could give up some home runs. He can give up some home runs, and we didn't score a lot of runs for him. We always had him in tight games for some reason. And when Sid pitched, there would always be so many foul balls straight back. I mean, Davey would always put our best offensive lineup out there because Sid was a fly ball pitcher. You put Hojo at short, Kevin Mitchell in left, and countless foul balls.
3-2 to Duda, and the curveball gets him. Wow. Best inning for the curveball for Gio Gonzalez. He gets 2 strikeouts with it, and the Mets are down in order in the 4th. 21-game winner, dealing that frame. This tour of Tradition Field brought to you by the Lexus Command Performance Sales Events. You take a look, and that's the end of your tour. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Admission free today on a gorgeous day. In the Treasure Coast of Florida, Lombardozzi first pitch hacking against Rafael Montero, who's thrown himself a good game. The 22-year-old prospect for the Mets, who was the organizational pitcher of the year last year. His first full season in pro ball. And what do you see today from him, Keith, that you like?
Well, we knew coming in he throws strikes. His minor league 2 years, he's not a guy that gives up a lot of walks. Unusually good control for a 22-year-old. What I've seen is a pretty good breaking ball and a good changeup. Nice if he can get a little bit more mileage on his fastball, but he's 22 years of age. He throws around 89. Don't have to throw hard to win. So I like what I see.
The Nationals have been on his fastball a little bit today.
Well, his fastball's a little straight. And there's Pedro Feliciano getting loose. And I have a hunch if Pedro's arm strength is there, he may be going north. If not, they'll keep him, down here, Kev?
I feel like he's in good shape. Let's see. Owings showing his power. It's off the wall. Big old Micah Owings puts on the brakes because a good job by Duda out there to get that ball back in fast. So Owings hits it off the wall, but is held to a single.
Well, he hit it off the wall, and he held to a single. Nice play by Duda off the wall, but Owings thought he had a home run. He got into his little El Dorado. Low-righted, and that's embarrassing. Real nice play by Duda. Played it nice. Thought he had it. Yeah,
It's not a bad guy for the Nationals to have in the minors, huh? They need some pop. Go down and get Owings. I mean, he is a .283 career hitter as a pitcher. And now Gonzalez will bunt him over.
Nice bunt.
Montero throws it to Turner, so sacrifice 1 to 4 as Owings goes on down to second.
You know, there comes Terry Collins. I guess this young man's on a pitch count. I know he hasn't thrown that much this year. He's got 4 innings under his belt coming into today.
I bet you there's also some sentiment they want to get Feliciano back-to-back days. He pitched yesterday, came in to get an out. Maybe they want to do the same here with the lefty Bernardino. But boy, what an effort by Rafael Montero. Kid gets on the big stage and does a real nice job for the Mets this afternoon. He leaves Feliciano on 1-0 New York. Outing for Rafael Montero today. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, did hit a batter, but showed you some really good things, including a very good slider. And here's another guy who's got a good slider. Pedro Feliciano trying to make this team on for back-to-back days with 2 down in the 5th. And he throws that slider to Bernardino for strike 1 to start him off. The pinch runner for the Nationals is James Van Ostrand. Comes on for Micah Owings. Feliciano, after 2 years of not pitching with shoulder surgery and then an ankle injury, pitched in winter ball this year and has had a good camp for the Mets. And he's got 0-2 to Roger Bernardino.
Good slider right here, and of course it's from Laredo, sidearm right to the glove. Boy, I remember all the great battles that Pedro had with that Phillies left-hand hitters, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and back in those days.
He did well against Chase Utley.
I only remember Utley getting him once. I remember he got a home run to left center field at Citizens Bank Park. But Pedro always was back-to-back, coming in the big part of the ball game to get those two guys out.
And more than that, he won those battles. And he hits Bernardino. And Pedro lost one there. He's ahead of Bernardino 1-2, and he comes in and hits him. And that'll bring up Espinosa now with 2 on for the Nationals.
Well, when you're Pedro Feliciano, he's probably very angry at himself, trying to get a fastball in, and you're a left-handed specialist trying to make the ball club, and your manager brings you in with a left-hander up. You spring, you're fighting for a ball club. Got to get that man out.
Van Ostrand off of second base. He's the pinch runner. Bernardino off of first. He can fly. And now Espinosa is the hitter. Switch hitter batting right against Feliciano. He's on that one, but he fouls it straight back. This is Feliciano's 8th appearance this spring. 4 total innings, just 1 run so far on 4 hits. This is the one thing he didn't do in winter ball. That's pitch back-to-back days. So a test for Feliciano here.
Good change. Remember, this was a pitch that Feliciano came up with after around 2 years with the Mets. He was primarily a sinker slider pitcher from sidearm.
To Espinosa. By the way, Keith, the fellows in the truck looked it up. Feliciano against Chase Utley. Utley was 8 for 36, which is a .222 clip, 2 home runs.
2 of them, okay.
So he got him twice.
Well, you know what? It's a tough left-hander.
It's pretty good, I think, right? 222 against Utley.
You can scratch out. Well, I mean, for Utley to hit 222 off Feliciano. And Feliciano's tough on left-handers.
Tap to third, and Lutz makes the play. If Feliciano gets out of trouble, keeps the Nationals off the board. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by the Volkswagen Springtoberfest. Visit VWDealer.com. So Feliciano comes in, hits a batter, but then gets Espinosa to tap out. And here's a conversation between innings, Keith.
Yeah, with Dan Morgan. See that right there? He's talking about that couple pitches that got away from him against the right-handers that were way outside. And also when he hit Bernardina. You see, he said he lowered his hand. He didn't get on top enough. Flew open his front shoulder too quick. So that was kind of interesting right there. And Feliciano's a veteran. He knows his mechanics.
Zach Lutz, first pitch swinging. The new right fielder James Van Ostrin came out a pinch run for Owings, puts it away, one down. Keith, your thought on Feliciano? I mean, the talk this spring has been, his velocity is where I guess when he was with the Mets in his heyday it was 87, 88. It's been around 83, 84-ish this spring. But I'll tell you one thing, sometimes you got to look at results, and he's come on and just keeps retiring batters every time I see him this spring.
Well, he's not going to be a guy that's going to go deep in a game for you. He's going to come in and really be a specialist. One of those guys, if he pitches a full year, Kev, 50 appearances, 35 innings,
right.
Lefty, just based on lefties.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the thought is right now, and Terry Collins did say they would take 2 lefties. So whoever that other lefty is, the thought right now would be Josh Edgen, but Josh Edgen or Robert Carson or Scott Rice, those guys are more, full inning guys than, a batter or 2 specialists that Feliciano is. And Tejada lines out to short, 2 down.
Well, Carson's had an up and down kind of spring. Edgen hasn't been setting the world on fire. It's wide open.
Yeah.
Those 4 guys, Feliciano, Rice, Edgen, Carson. You would have thought going in, Edgen would have been a lock, but Edgen's had his difficulties.
The interesting thing is, conversely, the Nationals really don't have a lefty specialist in their bullpen. Now, Zach Duke is the only lefty that's going to be in their bullpen. Now, they did just go and sign J.C. Romero, who had a real good World Baseball Classic, and Romero is scheduled to pitch today. Thought is he'll probably start in the minor leagues, but maybe they changed their mind.
Well, they lost Gorzolani and Sean Burnett, and I was shocked in the offseason that, because Gorzolani, let me tell you, was the unsung hero of that pitching staff.
Really good.
He was their spot starter and their middle reliever. He had a terrific year last year. I guess it was financial considerations. Burnett was solid last year, had a solid year.
He got a good contract from the Angels, too.
So I think basically there's the numbers for the Nats. And that starting rotation, of course, was number 1. They were awesome. But I talked to Davey earlier in the spring that he liked his right-handers can get out lefties. Okay, fine, but there's a time when you've got a good left-handed hitter up there. You want to, late in the game, you're going to have to have a tough left-hander out there to get him out.
Well, especially when you consider the division they play in. I mean, we talked about the Phillies. What about the Braves? Freeman and Hayward and those guys they've got to deal with. Let's see how it plays out for Davey Johnson. Meanwhile, bad throw. Francisco Soriano came in this inning at shortstop for Danny Espinosa, and they let that one get away, so Hoffman reaches.
Well, throws in the dirt, and Tyler Moore will show you why he's not a first baseman by trade. Did not have an idea really how to scoop that. Nice hustle down the line by Hoffman.
So the error on the shortstop. And that'll bring up Colin Cowgill, who's got 1 for 2 this afternoon. Single his last time up, grounded to short his first time up. Cowgill's got some power. 3 home runs this spring for Cowgill.
You don't want Cowgill swinging for the fences, though. Doubles hitter, triples hitter can run. It's got to be a line drive hitter, especially at Citi Field.
Bernardina makes the catch, and the inning is over. Through 5 innings at Tradition Field, Mets holding on to that 1-0 lead. Day to go for a bike ride and wear some pretty sweet plaid pants. You rollerblade, Keith?
No, but it's very nice down here when you start your day. You get up out of bed, you have breakfast. You don't have to put layers of clothes on.
That is not a bad thing. Jack Leathersich, one of the real up-and-comers in the Mets organization, lefty reliever, throws up to 100 miles an hour, pitching in that backfield inter-squad game going on right now. And you know, you can tell he's a prospect because everybody stopped what they're doing is watching the pitch right now.
Isn't that a Dykstra at the bat there?
Yeah. Alan Dykstra, I believe. Wheeler threw in that game earlier. We had him on earlier, showed him striking out, and there Leathersich gets a K. He's one of those guys that is rising quickly through the organization, and who knows, things goes right, maybe later in the year you see him. This is a guy who's also been rising through the Mets organization, got a taste last year, trying to make this team out of camp this year. Jeurys Familia in the game now for the Mets, pitcher number 3.
It's all about the walks with Familia. He's got good stuff, hard thrower, hard slider. 28 starts last year at Buffalo, was 9-9, but way too many walks. And his little bit of duty last year with the Mets, he had 8 games, 1 start, 12 1/3, 9 walks. Got to cut those down.
That's been the same this spring. He's had some real electric outings with his high 90s fastball and getting that sinker working. But in 8 1/3 innings, he's got 6 walks. And if you're going to be a reliever late in the game, that's one thing you don't want. So Familia trying to make a good last impression here. If it was a nice little bender that gets Moore fishing, he's in an 0-2 hole to start the 6th.
Moore has really shown a blind spot on that slider down and away. Right over the top of it.
If Familia doesn't go north with the Mets, the thought would be that maybe he would close at AAA Vegas. And he gets Moore on 3 pitches.
Well, there's the stuff. It's there. And, you know, a lot of guys have great arms in the minor leagues, and not all of them can put it together. It's all about throwing strikes, but he's definitely got the arm, the stuff. It's just a matter of him throwing strikes, and not just strikes over the middle. He's got to throw strikes in good spots.
Chad Tracy's had a good day. Veteran utility man for Davey Johnson is 2 for 2, a single and a double. Hit 269 and 93 at bats last year. Former Diamondback, and he's 3 for 3. A couple of bullets for Chad Tracy.
Nationals have been all over covering fastballs, I'll tell you that. There's a rip up the middle. And we got a pinch runner for Tracy.
That's a pretty good day for Chad Tracy as he comes out. Wish I could tell you who that. I think it's Jared Head, number 22. Yep, that's who it is. Wilson Ramos is the batter, and he fans at the pitch away.
Well, that's the slider, and you notice they're not strikes. And that's what happened in the big league level last year. They'd stopped swinging at that pitch in the dirt, and he fell behind. So he needs to get more command. I still can't get used to major leaguers with those double flap helmets that Mr. Head has over there at first base. Ugh, look at that. It's like a little leaguer. I mean, that's not being disrespectful.
No, you're not saying
he has to wear a double flap.
You're not saying Mr. Head's game play little. You're saying the overall look.
If I had to wear a double flap, I'd have been mortified.
At least it wasn't the great Gazoo hat. That's David Wright.
Oh, poor David.
Poor David.
He was wounded with that.
He took one for the team.
Yes. Oh boy.
It was like.
And then the helmet was too heavy, and it kept falling off. Let alone, look, he didn't get a stiff neck. Right on 15-day DL due to overweight helmet. The great Gazoo.
That was quite the great Gazoo discussion. Remember, he had the sticker at his locker after the game.
Gary was the one that called it.
Gary had a great call.
Gary got the great call with the Gazoo.
That was the great Gazoo.
It was with in the Jetsons.
Jetson, you're right. Jetson. I was thinking Flintstones, but yeah, the Jetsons. And he had the one stolen base in the game in Colorado, and he went head first to slide.
Let's see. Was it trading?
You could be right.
I'll look it up.
I watched both cartoons as a kid. Meanwhile, punch out for Familia. His second as Ramos is down on strikes.
It was the Flintstones.
All right.
You know, the Flintstones, believe it or not, were actually broke in on prime time.
Is that right?
Yes, along with Top Cat. Top Cat was a good.
Top Cat was good. God, I was the Flintstones growing up.
Benny the Ball.
I don't know Benny the Ball.
He was one of the sidekicks of TC.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I believe Johnny Quest opened up on prime time too.
Did they really?
I think so.
Did not know that. Thought that the primetime cartoon thing was more of a, last couple of the Simpsons type. I didn't realize that was something that went back for a little while.
There was a few more cartoons. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
Opportunity for Bird as Rivera pops out, and a good inning for J.R.'s Familia there. A couple strikeouts, mowing down the Nationals. Training, gorgeous shot of the palm trees outside Tradition Field, and great day. 1-0 Mets over the Nats in the home 6th inning. When you watch Suki and Francis on the Pix 11 Morning News, you get more of what you want in the morning. More news, more weather, more fun. The Pix 11 Morning News, weekday morning starting at 4 a.m. Nationals make a couple changes, but Gio Gonzalez remains in for his 6th inning of work. Gio's had it going, had that curveball working to perfection.
He's really found his rhythm.
Just gets in that groove. 3 strikeouts so far today as Turner leads it off for the Mets. 0 for 2. Ground out to third and a 4-6-3 double play, although he hit that ball hard as you could hit it. And he takes a strike from Gonzalez. Gio Gonzalez, the 38th overall pick back in 2004 by the White Sox out of Monsignor Edward Pace High School in Miami. And he was sent to the Phillies from the White Sox in one trade. You look at what he has done. Traded with the Phillies with Gavin Floyd, back to the White Sox for Freddie Garcia in 06.
Kevin.
Taking a picture?
Of you.
Shortstop. Oh, hi.
In the booth. There you go.
Thank you.
Got my new toy, my new iPad.
What's that for? Just a personal preference?
No, these things, you know, they're so perfect for us in the booth because we got compact booth space.
No, it's tremendous.
So I just went and bought one because it's perfect. It's just this size. Obviously, everybody knows an iPad. And if it's 3 in the booth here with Ronnie and Gary, it's not enough room, so you can't have a very large computer. So this is perfect.
See, I've got the red cover with the little keyboard on it. I like the little keyboard to go with it. You're just going rogue just with the iPad, nothing else.
iPad, and it's got the 4G, so it's just so quick.
See, I need the new one. I have the old one. It's a little sluggish.
Plus, I can take pictures, historic pictures of us.
That's true.
I'm going to take a bunch of pictures of us during the course of the year now. You can take pictures with this. It's great. I'm just getting familiar with it. I love it.
So you're saying your next book will be a picture book? Plenty of illustrations? You never know where it'll take you. It could be very creative.
That's true.
Gonzalez looking into Ramos and will step off. You see he's got 77 pitches so far, but he's had good control, just one walk. Soriano the long throw, but Bird is retired.
Nice play. Nice strong arm.
And that'll bring up Ike Davis. Well, we were talking about Gonzalez. Hope that picture came out all right, by the way.
It did.
All right, good.
You look great.
Well, thank you. Traded, back to the White Sox for the Freddie Garcia deal, and then sent to the A's for Nick Swisher. And then, of course, the A's send him to the Nationals last year for A.J. Cole, Tommy Milone, Derek Norris, and Brad Peacock. Tommy Milone was great for the A's last year, so it was a good trade for both teams. It's pretty neat when you look at the timeline, though. Gonzalez in a couple of noteworthy trades, and then signed a 4-year, $42 million extension last year. It was worth every single penny in year one. All the numbers against Gio that you could break down as you look at Edgen warming up, a 206 batting average against. That is insanely good. Look at that. Since 2010, most wins in the major leagues. Gio third behind a couple of real good pitchers.
He's got the good breaking ball going. He has found the breaking ball, found his rhythm, and around the 4th inning, he just started picking it up. Acquired from Oakland. What a move that was.
Oh, man. And he goes to the breaking ball here. Yeah, and Keith, really, the one bugaboo when he came over the trade was walks, but he significantly improved there last year with the Nationals. Look out. Davis bending awkwardly out of the way.
Oh, it's just a hanging curve.
See, obviously, Gio didn't want that one to happen. Now it's 3-2 to Ike Davis. Mets 1-0 in the 6th. And to the bat's going to find a home. And Davis has himself a base hit. So the Mets have a 2-out runner. That'll bring up John Buck. Buck walked and scored the only Met run on a Zach Lutz sacrifice fly that back in the 2nd inning. And he was a strikeout victim in the 4th on a terrific curveball by Gonzalez. Brian Bixler comes in. He will run for Ike Davis. Davis finishes his day 1 for 3. And so now it's Buck trying to get a little insurance for the Mets, up 1-0 on the Nationals. What a catch at second. Steve Lombardozzi leaping high in the air, timed it well, and the inning is lines over to Rob. John Buck. Some ups for Lombardozzi. Keeps this one a 1-0 game in favor of New York. Kirk Neuenhuis and the Mets. Some shots from spring training. Cool photos as we get you all warmed up and ready for opening day.
We started doing this last year, and I love it. I love the stills.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a different look. Yep. See the weather and a fantastic shot here at Tradition Field. Good crowd this afternoon. Hot day, 89 degrees. And a new pitcher for the Mets, Josh Edgen, trying to lock up that spot in the Mets pen.
Well, it's been kind of a little bit of a tough spring for him. The 14 hits and 9 2/3. But Josh is a good hard thrower. And we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, the last 9 days before opening day. And there's decisions to be made, and there's spots. One spot on that right side of the bullpen, right-handed side, and there's 2 spots available on that left-hand side. Guys fighting for the positions.
So Edgen facing Steve Lombardozzi here in the 7th. Lombardozzi's a couple of flyouts to center field. Pretty big weekend for Josh. Is pitching today, scheduled to, I believe, pitch tomorrow, and then Josh is going to become a dad. And his wife getting set to, I believe, Tuesday is the day. A big day for Josh, so it'll be quite the momentous week for him. Hopefully have a good couple of outings this weekend. Take a couple days to go home and be with the family and his new addition, and then come on back and get set for opening day. 2-1 to Lombardozzi, and a leadoff hit for the Nationals.
The Nationals are out hitting the Mets 6-4, but they're losing in the most important runs scored category. 1-0 ball game here in the top of the 7th.
Now hitting right fielder, number 25, James Van Ostrand.
The James Van Ostrand is the hitter. First at bat, came on a pinch run for Micah Owings. And Josh Edgen put to the test with a runner on Lombardozzi on first with good speed. Well, 9 days to opening day, and so you're getting down to the nitty gritty. You heard Keith talking before about guys trying to get in their groove offensively and get that good feeling before you break camp.
The Mets still have a lot of guys in camp. They've got a lot of cuts to make, and usually the cuts are made on meal money day because it starts a week. You get a week's meal money. So that's always a cut day because you're always paid in cash for your week's meal money. So they make the cut that day so the kids that go down to minors don't get the big league meal money.
So you're not gonna get that steak
right
on that particular day.
It's back to $10 a day in the minors.
Well, that's rough. That's rough.
I'm sure it's better now. I don't know what it is now today. That's what it was in my day. They got you a good patty melt at Denny's.
Moon over Miami. I think that's about $8.99, something like that. When is meal? What day is meal money day? Do you know?
I always my day it was a Monday or a Friday. Either the end of the week or the beginning. I'm not sure.
You have to have your stuff on the Mets truck to go north by Monday. I don't know if
I got 3 bags, 3 smaller bags. I got the big one coming tomorrow. The truck goes up at noon on Monday for all you folks. They get a big van line and they ship up all.
Just gets through. Turner with a good try on that hard shot. But Van Ostrand is on, and now back-to-back singles against Josh Edgen in the 7th.
This ball's scorched. 2 rips off of Edgen here. Just out of the reach of Turner. And that would have been a double play if he makes that play. Just out of his reach. But anyway, all the guys that are going north and know they're going north, they've been down here for the end when spring ends. A lot of guys have been down 2 months. It's a lot of clothing. So it takes the burden off of the Kevin Kerr clubhouse man, because everybody's going to get a flight back north together and could overload the airplane. So they have a truck that takes all your excess up, which I think is a beautiful thing. I give them all my stuff, and so I don't have to have any luggage going north. I just get off the plane and go home.
So all your luggage is. Take a look at Turner. Remember, sprained that right ankle a week ago and move around a little gingerly.
Probably had to plant off that and push off that ankle. Huh? Mets are going to play the bunt here. Corners in.
Switch hitting Jose Lozada, pinch hitting for the pitcher Gio Gonzalez. And he swings away. So you're going to have no bags on the plane. That's awesome.
Well, I have clothing for both my condo
both places,
here.
Right?
I live down here in the winter, so I don't. But I always have one bag where I fill it up and send it up.
Two on for the Nationals. Nobody out against Edgen in the 7th. There's a 1-0 Met lead on the Zach Lutz sac fly that came back in the 2nd. The Shark, Roger Bernardina on deck. Lutz drops it at first, tries a recovery, and they can't get anybody. So the misplay at first base by Zach Lutz. And now the Nationals have the bases loaded with nobody out.
Well, that's going to be charged in air to Lutz. And this is a double play ball. Isn't ironic? Just take Ike Davis out of the game, and you have a very costly error right there by Zach Lutz. Edgen coming over. Throw behind him too. So bases are loaded.
Well, now a real test for Josh Edgen.
They're going to play it in at the corners, back for 2 up the middle.
Slider strike 1 to Bernardina. Keep in mind, Bernardino's got terrific speed. Lombardozzi at third, Van Ostrand at second, Jose Lozada at first after the error. Nobody out here in the 7th. 1-0 Mets. Edgen brought the heat that time.
Well, Edgin's going to be in here. There's no one up in the bullpen. He is going to get an inning's work. And that ball was low. Got a break there.
And a punch out. Edgin comes right back, and on 3 pitches gets Bernardina for his first strikeout in the first out of the inning.
Oh, just another fastball. 0-2, and right after him. Like it. Knees in black. That one was a strike.
Bernardina not pleased with that at bat. And now Francisco Soriano will have his first at bat. Soriano came on to play the field for Danny Espinosa. Mets are looking for the double play, and that one hurt. Soriano, what he did with Potomac and A-ball.
So he got him off the knee. Let's take a look. No, that's an ankle shot. Inside a part of the ankle. That hurts. That's all bone there. However, you got to rub dirt in it and get back in the box.
And it's quickly 0-2. So Edgin, after the error which loaded the bases, has come back and thrown 5 straight strikes.
Well, you like to see this. He's being watched. He's trying to make this ball club.
To left. Lombardozzi off a third. And Duda will throw to third. So a sac fly brings home Lombardozzi. Soriano gets the job done. Nationals tie the game at 1.
Well, the error by Lutz is really costly here. That would have been the third out of the inning.
So Edgin allows a run, but as Keith pointed out, this inning should have been over. Runners stay at first and second. And Justin Bloxham will take his first at bat, replacing Tyler Moore, who got the start today. First and second for the Nats, 2 down. Strike with the slider on the outside corner. Was that fastball?
Fastball.
Yeah, I thought it was a slider. Put it bent a little bit, but just fastball. I'll say this, Edgin after that error has gotten aggressive.
Well, you'd like to see it.
Trying to keep it as a tie game and get out of a jam. Allowed the first 2 batters to reach via single, and then the error. 0-2 count. Jared Head waits on deck. Just high. Edgin wanted that one.
Wow. Tin Cup is Ronnie would say.
DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpire. And now it goes to 3-2. No one in the Mets pen, so this is Edgin's jam to get out of right now. Payoff to block some runners go, and it's upstairs, ball 4. Now the bases loaded again. And Gerard Head will be the batter. Two down, bases empty for the Nats. Edgin trying to get ahead to get out of a jam. Big spot for Edgin, who's trying to lock up a spot in this bullpen. Run is unearned. And any other runs unearned, but still Terry Collins is watching, and he's upstairs again.
Boy, I tell you what, Rayburn, the home plate umpire, is not a high ball umpire. He does not call that high strike, but he'll call that low one. Good rip.
Edgin came with the fastball that time.
It's a good swing by Head.
Edgin's 1-2 to Head, and late time is called. Now Darno out to the mound just to get on the same page with Edgin, maybe let him compose himself a little bit. That was a late granted timeout. Terry Collins observing as he tries for his young left-hander to get out of a big jam. Fastball upstairs. They'll check. Did he go around? He does. So Edgin comes back and gets Head, gets the big strikeout, and gets out of a bases loaded jam. Nationals do tie it up though. 1-1 game. Middle of the 7th.
Why do I like this new Buick Verano? It lets me
New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Evil Dead in theaters April 5th. Rated R. That looks interesting. Good game. Bottom 7, Tradition Field. Hot day. Temperatures at 89 degrees. They get the fans out.
We'll make like Ernie Banks. Let's play 2.
Let's not say we did. We'll save that for the regular season when we get snowed out in Colorado. A good pitching today. Gio Gonzalez was stellar for the Nationals. He went 6 innings, allowed a run. And now it's Drew Storen, last year's closer, this year's setup man for the Nationals, on in relief in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, they're going to have 2 outstanding setup guys in Storen and Tyler Clippard. Of course, they got Soriano in the offseason. Rafael Soriano to close. That's a pretty good 3 at the end of your bullpen, huh?
That's pretty solid. I mean, Tyler Clippard, who closed last year when Storen was hurt. Storen, who we know can close. And Soriano, who was ridiculous last year for the Yankees, filling in for the injured Mariano Rivera, rewarded with a 2-year contract. And that's quite the back end of the bullpen.
Storen's got the big curveball. That's his out pitch, where Clippard is a changeup guy.
So we got Ryan Matthews, who's also very, very solid for Davey Johnson. But again, what they don't have is the situational lefty. Zach Duke's going to be their only lefty in the pen as Duda takes outside. And it's 3-0 to Lucas Duda to start off the 7th inning.
Well, the first pitch that Storen threw coming on warm-up in commercial break, folks, you throw it to the backstop.
There's a strike. Storen's allowed 5 runs in his 9 innings of work this spring. He's been a little uneven with his spring performances, and of course he had to answer a lot of questions at the onset of camp. And Duda rips one to right field. This one is deep, and it's gone. Home run, Lucas Duda, his 4th of the spring, and the Mets take a 2-1 lead.
Well, fell behind 3-1. Actually 3-0. Lucas got the fastball, and that puts him in a team tie with Valdespin with 4 home runs. Kid dropped it.
It's right there.
Send him down.
The motion. Now, all of a sudden, Keith, after Duda got off to that rough start, he was 0 for 7, struck out 6 of those 7 times. He started to find a groove, and at 4 home runs now, feeling like he's headed into the regular season on a good direction. Mets take a 2-1 lead in the home 7th inning with Zach Lutz at the plate. Lutz has a sacrifice fly in this game, so officially he's 0 for 1. Well, I was talking about Storen, and had a good year last year for the Nationals, coming back from the injury after a terrific year in 2011. And the Nationals ran into the Cardinals in the first round of the playoffs, back and forth series, went to game 5, and were 3 outs away from moving on to the NLCS, but lost 9-7 of the Cards in that game, and Lutz, the strikeout victim, 1 down. And there were multiple things that went wrong for the Nationals in that game. If you take a look at the pitch.
Well, he went to his breaking ball, did he not?
But the Nationals, they were up 6-5 in that game. Gio Gonzalez only lasted 5 innings, so that was part of the problem. And then they were up 7-5. And Storen came on, walked Molina, then walked David Freese on a very close pitch, and then Daniel Descalso and Pete Kozma, the unsung heroes for the Cardinals, got huge hits, and it was a 9-7 win for the Cardinals, and it sent the Nationals into a rough offseason. But Storen has handled it with class, that's for sure. I had a long conversation with him before the game on the field. He's just excited about the team. I asked him about Soriano and what that means to him. He said, look, I'll tell you one thing, our bullpen's going to be good, and I'm looking forward to hopefully winning a lot of games. Storen, for a young guy, real class act, only 25 years old. You forget was also a first-round pick in '09. Same year they drafted Strasburg, #1 overall. He was later in the round out of Stanford.
Well, a lot of the guys were first time in postseason. And when you're in the protecting a lead late in an important game in postseason, you get a little nervous.
Change.
And I think they got a little nervous.
You know, you wonder 6-0 early in that game too. You wonder if you almost mentally say, okay, we got this one in the bag. There's a long way to go. They had 6 early.
Well, you'd never say that in any game really, but particularly in postseason, because you're playing against the best teams, and obviously the teams that get into the postseason, particularly when you get down to the final 2. So you never take any lead for granted, and you know, credit the Cardinals for holding them right there and allowing the team allowing them to come back. Because really, when you're 6-0, you get 3 runs, it's 9-0, lights out.
Sure. So Storen's career numbers so far. 2-2 to Ruben Tejada. Tejada's 0 for 2. Now 4 of 42 this spring. Looking for a little bit of a groove for the season starts.
Got a nice breeze in here, don't we? They got the door open.
Yeah, it feels good. Tejada works the count to full. Payoff to Tejada. Just misses ball 4. And the first walk issued by Storen. Mets have a 1-out base runner. Guarantee access to 2013 MLB All-Star ticket strips by becoming a Mets ticket plan holder today. 2013 MLB All-Star game coming to Citi Field this July. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit Mets.com/All-Star now. Got to bring up Mike Baxter. Came in the game and play right field last inning, and he is hitting in the 9 spot. And Baxter swinging at the first pitch, pops it up. And caught by Soriano at shortstop, 2 down. You know, Keith, now that the fans at home have seen your flashy new iPad, there is even more demand as they really asking me to get you on Twitter. Can you answer that publicly?
I do have a Twitter account, but I never even go there. I wish I hadn't even signed up, to be honest with you.
So you have an account. There's an account that exists.
Yes, there is.
But you never have tweeted.
Never tweet. It's a waste of time if you're looking for me. So don't do it.
All right, just figured I'd ask.
I'll let the tweetsters take care of it on there.
The tweetsters. Hey, here's Kirk Neuenhuis. His first at bat in the big league sides. He's coming back from that bone bruise in his left knee. So Neuenhuis is a good sign for him. Played minor league games last couple days and now getting a chance here in the 7th inning. Back on the field means he's feeling healthy. Storen pulled the string, so it's 1-1 to Kirk Neuenhuis. Neuenhuis was certainly in the mix, if not thought of as a starting center fielder for this team when the Mets got here. But other players played well, and Neuenhuis just missed the time, and so you'd think that's going to probably hurt him when Terry Collins makes his decision. But we will see. Storen's fastball a little outside, so it's 2-1.
Kurt's problem is that he flies out off the ball. He opens up that front shoulder. Almost, I know he's hit his whole life with an open stance. I would almost want to see him work with him and maybe close his stance, make him go up the middle. Just tends to pull off.
You know, it would have been nice if Newman didn't get hurt. You know, he had the first, when he first came up, he played very, very well, and then he went to a little stump. He had some strikeout issues, and then he injured his foot after he got sent down, the plantar fascia. And he never got a chance to kind of come back up in September and see the league kind of for a third time. Here it's 2-2, and the breaking ball never breaks, and count goes full.
Well, the thing about Neuenhuis was that if he would have hadn't had the foot injury, and you can see those numbers and their polar opposites, is that in September for the recall he would have played.
Yeah.
And getting valuable experience, because the Mets were going nowhere last year.
And a punch out as Neuenhuis thought he had ball 4. But he is a strikeout victim, and the inning is over. Mets, though, take the lead. Lucas Duda, long ball number 4. Sends it out to Wright. Sends the Mets into the lead, 2-1 as we head to the 8th. Drew Story. I see the cloud just covering the sun. A little shade on the field. It's been a really warm day. It's a cool shot. As we head to the 8th, 2-1 Mets over the Nationals. Lucas Duda with a home run and giving the lead off Drew Storen. And now, as we've seen some lefties in this battle for the bullpen for Terry Collins today, we saw Feliciano, we saw Edgin, and now we see Rob Carson.
Well, Robert's in the mix, and this is a big toss-up here, who the 2 left-handers are going to be. We mentioned earlier that Terry Collins said he is going to go north with 2 left-handers. There's 4 guys vying for him. Robert Carson is one of them.
Wilson Ramos was started off in the 8th. Carson so far has worked 10 1/3 innings, allowed 5 runs. Struck out 4 and walked 1, and Ramos hits one bullet, but right to Neuenhuis, who stays in the game at center. 1 pitch and 1 away. Carlos Rivero is next against Robert Carson. Very interesting who Terry Collins thinks are the 2 top lefties to take.
Well, I believe Robert Carson has some options remaining. You're fighting for a spot in rotation. You don't want to have those options.
Well, you have basically 3 years of options, and Carson, of course, just came up last year for the first time. And it goes for a lot of guys. It's going to be quite the choice. I mean, Carson and Regin both got major league time. Both have shown you flashes this spring. Feliciano, we know what he can do in the past. He's had a good spring, but the velocity is 4 or 5 miles an hour slower than he normally has been. Scott Rice had a good camp. Terry Collins talked him up at the beginning of camp. Sinker baller, 15 years in the minor leagues. Trying to break with the big club for the first time in his career, which will be some story. And then Aaron Laffey in that mix. But Laffey right now with the injury, Santana is being worked more as a starter. As a matter of fact, they'll start in a split squad game tomorrow, and it looks as if Laffey will start the year at Vegas as a starter if the Mets would need another starter at some point. 2-2.
No one made a play down that bullpen. No effort. The ball rolls down the left field line.
Got Matt Harvey starting tomorrow, Keith, on our airwaves.
That's my third game of seeing Matt. Fourth, I believe.
Harvey and Doug Fister, Mets and Tigers tomorrow at 1. Don't forget your Picks shirt. It's on Picks again.
Yes. Well, it's the last Picks game of spring, I believe.
My last game of the spring. Head home, you're ready for opening day. Rivero, deep shot to center. Neuenhuis can't catch up with it. Rivero cruises in with a 1-out double off of Carson.
Well, the wind's starting to pick up here. That ball was crushed. Protecting a 1-run lead, you want to play a little bit deeper than you normally do, and Neuenhuis was playing deep. That ball just got into the jet stream. Ball's hit right on the screws. You get a look at the flags. It is blown out hard to right field.
Now you could feel it up here too. Nationals have a pinch hitter for Steve Lombardozzi. Billy Burns to the plate now, the switch hitter. Carson's fastball is upstairs, ball 1.
So one great thing about this game of baseball, I mean, the Nationals have had some little guys up here. Burns is not a big guy. Don't have to be big and strong and brawny to make it in the big leagues.
No.
He's a tiny guy.
Nationals brought some of their A-ballers today. Get a chance to play.
You know what a thrill that is? You know how nervous you are?
Tejada makes the play, and there's 2 down. Rivero stays at second. And James Van Ostrand will be the hitter now. He's 1 for 1. Came into the game to pinch run and then singled his only plate appearance. Did some damage in the minor leagues last year. As Carson tries to work a scoreless frame. Keep the Mets in front 2-1.
I'd like that. 2-1 victory. No bottom half of the 9th. That's coming back.
Get your glove. Nope. I thought that was coming in.
Well,
Darno can't find it. But Rivero stayed at second.
didn't react. The ball was set up outside. Didn't react to that little ball cutting to the inside corner.
Rivero didn't even break for third on that one.
There you go.
The old rolling down the berm game. Count evens at 2s on Van Ostrand.
Here's the wild pitch we're going to show you, but we're not going to show you. We had a little. Sorry. There we go. So here's the wild pitch, and you see it's a spring training. Trying to make a ball club. Can't do that.
Pop to left, inning over. So Rob Carson allows the double, but they strand Rivero on second. Mets up by 1. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Well, we look around the division this spring, and yeah, spring training stats don't mean anything, but they sometimes give you a little look into what could be. And you look around, and basically there's a lot of hitters that are hitting the tar of the ball and a lot of pitchers who have stunk up the joint a little bit. Now you look at the Nationals. Harper is having a great spring. He was supposed to be here today, had a little swelling on his left hand, nothing big after getting jammed the other day, and Davey Johnson decided to let him stay home. We'll probably play tomorrow. But Strasburg, who cares about that ERA? You know he's going to be awesome when the season starts. Meanwhile, this is the only lefty in the Nationals bullpen. 29-year-old Zach Dukeith, the former Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, he used to have a very, very funky delivery when he came up and had a success early in his career, and then it just all fell apart for Zach. He's kind of bounced around.
Andrew Brown leads it off for the Mets in the home 8th. 2-1, they lead the Nationals. Lucas Duda with a home run, and Brown with a bullet back up the box to start it off. Well, you talk about the delivery. Duke spent most of last year in Syracuse. He was a starter. 26 starts. He was 15-5 with a 3.51 ERA. He got a couple games in at the big league level. The Nationals just 8.
Well, he came up in 05 and went 8-2 in 14 starts with a 1.81 earned run average. And then 06 he went 10-15, and then 5-14, and 11-16, and 8-50. Now granted, those Pirate teams were pretty stinky back then.
Duke is not seen right now as a lefty specialist, but I think that's why the Nationals signing of J.C. Romero was a smart one. I mean, Romero has been on a million teams the last 2 years, but he had a good World Baseball Classic, and goes down to the minors and looks good. You have that if the Nationals need it, but right now their bullpen, despite the lack of another lefty, looks pretty darn good.
Well, Davey Johnson likes him, and that's always important. You want to be on the good side of the evaluation when you're being evaluated by the manager. There's Davey. He's seen a few ball games.
Just a few. And Hicks is drilled. So the Mets have first and second. Nobody out, and Brian Bixler will take the at bat. He came on a pinch run for Ike Davis in the 6th inning. He's had a good camp. Has Bixler, a couple of home runs. So he's got a nice little gap in left center field. And Dukes deals him with a strike.
You know, you notice the defense we just showed you, the corners in. You know, usually in spring training, a manager's going to let someone hit. Now, this is a regular season game. Bixler's always been kind of light hitter. Probably a bunt.
Bixler trying to make the team. Mets have a logjam at backup infielder. Turner's going to make this team, and then you're looking at Bixler or Hicks or Quintanilla or Lutz.
Well, Quintanilla gives you your best glove.
Yeah, and he's a natural shortstop, which I think gives him an advantage because Turner can play the corners and second, which is exactly what Hicks and Bixler can do. And Bixler waving and missing as Zach Duke comes with a breaker and gets him.
Good breaking ball right there, and that's what Duke's game is. He's not overpowering.
Fans have a nice hand for Travis d'Arnaud, who's had a very good spring training for the Mets. He's opened a lot of eyes, and quite frankly, it's been as advertised when the Mets got him in that R.I. Dickey trade, and he promptly lines a base hit up the middle. That's going to be some insurance. Brown comes in to score. Out at third is Hicks. But d'Arnaud gets the RBI single, 3-1 Mets, and Hicks punched out at second.
Well, I tell you what, two good things, actually three good things there. I like the fact that Hicks took the extra bag. I thought he beat the throw. Mets want to be more aggressive on the bases. Nice clutch hitting by d'Arnaud. First pitch fastball. It's going to score easily on that big insurance run. But watch d'Arnaud behind the throw, the back end of the play here. Pixie, he's got his eye on the ball. No hesitation. The throw comes in. He saw it was over the cutoff man, which was the shortstop's head. He advanced into scoring position. Nicely done.
Omar Quintanilla, first pitch swinging. And he's retired, and so are the Mets here in the 8th. But the added insurance run, the RBI single from Travis d'Arnaud. Mets looking to close out the Nats when we return. Boy, that ocean looks Purdy right about now. Gorgeous day for it.
Those two people look awful familiar.
They've been on that same base for about 6 years. We've got quite the suntan by now.
That is a beautiful day when that ocean is flat like that. Where's the wind?
Think we can actually just show the rest of the baseball game? We're just going to stay showing the beach. I love it. That's why spring training's so great. As much about the flavor of it, right? The beach and the sun and getting you ready for baseball season. And Brandon Lyon's flavor will be to close down this baby. 3-1 Mets, top 9. Lyon on to slam the door. Jose Lozada, the switch hitter, starts it off, taking strike 1. All Brandon Lyon has done all spring is throw strikes. He's been very consistent for the Mets.
Well, he's closed before with Arizona, Houston.
Lozada gets into the breaking ball and hits that one foul. I think that's what made him attractive too, Keith. You know, I mean, before this spring, they knew they had Francisco, who was injury prone, and he's injured again, and who had an up and down season. They knew that Bobby Parnell was a guy that they would like to take that role, but having another guy, a veteran, who could kind of do whatever you want him to do down there is big. And he's been consistent throughout his career. Pretty much wherever he's been. Diamondbacks, Astros. Tejada giving chase. And he dropped the ball. Ruben did the hard part and got out there, got a good jump. He just dropped it.
That's going to be, should be rule in error. Close the glove too quickly on the ball. It wasn't a play where you can use two hands. Yep. Well, he hustled all the way. You're down 2 runs. You don't want to do anything crazy.
Well, he did run out of the box. So the error on Tejada. And now the Nationals have the tying run at the plate. Carlos Maldonado came in to catch in the last inning. Will get his first at bat and takes outside ball 1. Think about it, the Nationals used 5 catchers last year. That's how banged up they were at the position, and then ended up trading for Kurt Suzuki. It's not a lot of organizations that have that kind of depth. Have 5 guys good enough to play catcher at this level. But now the Nationals, with a healthy Wilson Ramos and Suzuki in his first full year with the Nationals, are going to have an awful nice platoon back there for Davey Johnson.
Well, I think they want Ramos to be the everyday catcher if he can stay healthy. He's got a lot of talent.
You get the sense, I would think, Keith, that just to start the year, especially until Ramos proves that he's healthy, it'll be more of a platoon, and then you can see Ramos as the season goes on getting more of those reps. What a good trade that was by Mike Rizzo, sending Matt Capps, the reliever, to Minnesota for Ramos. Right to third. Bixler tries to turn it. A good heads up by Lozada. That was a hard shot, and he had to scurry back into first base to avoid the double play.
Well, this ball's ripped. And that's the last thing you want to do is get doubled up, obviously. Good base running by Lozada.
Francisco Soriano now. The sacrifice fly, his last at bat, which tied the game at 1, but then the Mets got a Lucas Duda home run, and since a Travis d'Arnaud single to take a 3-1 lead as Brandon Lyons trying to slam the door in the 9th.
I'll tell you what, the Mets outfielders are playing awful shallow, protecting a 2-run lead.
And it's another base hit. Lozano's going to go to third. Nationals have runners on the corners. The tying runs on with one down in the ninth.
Hanging breaking ball right there.
Well, Justin blocks him now. The Mets, a double play would be good.
Double play would be what the doctor ordered, and you saw the Met outfielders kind of backed up here now with the tying run on first base. You don't want anything getting over your head, and with that wind blowing out to right field.
Blocks him, walked his last at bat. You see it. It is a strong gust blowing out to right. You get it up in the air, good chance it gets out of here.
And Gerald Head in the on-deck circle.
1-0 from Lyon, and it's 1-1. Head coming next for the Nats. As a meeting at the mound, Lyon, Darno. Darno, I'll tell you what, he is so cool. I was talking to him today, Keith, and I asked him about the pressure. You come over here in the Dickey trade, and obviously all eyes are on you. How did he respond? What pressure?
Well,
it's pretty laid back.
I like the fact that he's kind of he's a hands-on catcher too. He's involved with his pitching staff.
Lyon's breaking ball misses. It's 2-1.
So if he develops into what the Mets are hopeful he will. Good breaking ball right there, just low. It's always good to have a catcher who is respected, and I like a catcher that's involved with his pitchers. And I played for some that don't have a whole lot to do with their pitchers. That they do, but various degrees. I'd rather have a catcher that really they work together. It's the most important thing right there, the pitcher-catcher relationship.
Nationals have the tying runs on. 2-1. The curveball is ripped. Foul. Darno has got that laid-back California style. I think it suited him well this camp, and he's impressed everyone he's been around, from his teammates to the coaches. I mean, you knew he had the bats, and he's shown that too. But I think, Keith, you hit it. He has really done a good job talking to his pitchers, getting to know them, voicing his opinion. 2-2. And it gets him. Lyon, it's a big strikeout. And the Nationals are down to their final out.
Breaking ball down and in.
Jared Head now the batter. Last chance for the Nats. Tying runs on base, 2 down in the ninth. Head a strikeout victim his last time out. That was against Josh Edgen. As Lyon trying to overcome an error by Tejada, this ball game would have been over. Lyon trying to pick up his teammate here. Let's go Mets chance picking up at Tradition Field. Head pops it up. Is it going to stay in play?
It is.
It is. And Bixler makes the catch. And the ball game's over. Brandon Lyon does a nice job to dance out of trouble as he retires the Nationals with a couple runners on and sends the Mets to a 3-1 win this afternoon over Washington.
Well, very impressive start by Rafael Montero, the Mets starter. Went 4 2/3. 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks. Now, he's not going to make the ball club. He's 22 years of age, but that's a big part of the future for the Mets, and he was really pitched a fine ball game.
He really did a nice job on the big stage for Terry Collins. His troops get the win. Game summary brought to you by your Tri-State BMW centers. Mets 3, Nationals 1. Took 2 hours and 41 minutes. Josh Edgin came on, did get the victory in relief. Drew Storm gave up a home run to Lucas Duda. He's the loser in relief. We told you about Montero. And Brandon Lyon shuts it down. Plenty more to do. When we come back, stick around. Mets get the victory this afternoon.